I think I left a piece of my heart in the Himalayas. The foggy, snow-clad mountains and the sheep playing and grazing on the green grass. मुश्किल होता है ना अच्छी यादों को पीछे छोड़ना, पर बीते हुए कल और आने वाले पल में फ़र्क बस इतना है कि एक चीज़ आपको आगे नहीं बढ़ने देती और दूसरी आपको पीछे मुड़कर उन यादों में अपना घर नहीं बसाने देती, क्योंकि सफ़र अभी भी अधूरा है। पहाड़ों की यादों को पीछे छोड़कर और दोस्तों को गुड बाय कहकर मैं चली एक नए सफ़र पे, अकेले शिमला की वादियों में। I was staying at the hostler in Shimla, and that's where I met Shruti, who was a first-time solo traveler. She was telling me how she was skeptical about what to expect on her first solo trip, and I remember telling her to go with the flow and just let things unfold on its own. It gets uncomfortable at first, but gets a lot better with time and practice. We got along really well, so we decided to grab some coffee and dessert at a local cafe and spend the rest of our evening sharing our own little life experiences. Agli subah we decided to explore the city together, but before that our first stop was Sharma ji ke chole bhature. It's one of the locals' favorite and I'd recommend it to you if you want to have some good chaat and chole kulche. Next up on our itinerary was Chakhu Temple. ये शिमला का सबसे पुराना मंदिर है and it's situated at Chakhu Hill at the height of 2,455 meters above sea level. आप या तो चल के ऊपर आ सकते हो, which takes approximately 30 minutes to reach, या फिर आप रोपवे लेकर शिमला को एक bird's eye view से enjoy कर सकते हो, which is exactly what we did. The return fare for the ropeway will cost you around 470 rupees per person. दर्शन करने के बाद we sat down to recite Hanuman Chalisa, and it was such a pure and a powerful feeling to just sit and pray to Lord Hanuman inside the temple. The statue that you see here is about 108 feet tall. Fun fact, कहा जाता है कि जब हनुमान जी भगवान लक्ष्मण की जान बचाने संजीवनी बूटी की तलाश में निकले थे, he stopped at Chakhu Hill to rest, and the top of the hill got flattened because of Hanuman's weight. I love the fact that you get to learn so many mythological stories about ancient history and culture while traveling. While walking around the temple, we also found this hidden cafe that not many people know about. It's called Cafe Under Tree, and the place looked so beautiful, but the view was even better. We called for some ginger lemon tea and took our own sweet time to enjoy the view. You can easily spend a few hours on the top, so you can definitely add this place on your itinerary on your trip to Shimla. After we got back, I had to say goodbye to Shruti and explore on my own. I got a lot of big sister energy from her, and I really hope that we keep meeting each other. But now that I was alone, I thought of doing something that didn't require company. That was watching a live performance at Shimla's Gaiety Theatre. It was built in the late 1800s during the British colonial era and has been an important center for the performing arts in Shimla ever since. I actually enjoyed the performance so much that I ended up going there on 2 consecutive days, and it reminded me of my last year in college where I took a little part in designing costumes for Shakespeare's play called Hamlet. I'm so grateful that I got to study literature while in college because it makes me appreciate art of all forms even more. For drinks and dinner, I went to Shimla Brewing Company to catch a beautiful sunset and get a magical panoramic view of the hills. They also brew their own craft beers, and since Shimla is known for organic apples, you must try the apple cider beer over here. Uske baad, I met a few friends from my hostel and had a few more drinks, and I called it a night. Next morning, I was on a hunt for a good breakfast place, and I knew exactly where I wanted to go. Apart from the stunning landscape and the old colonial vibey architecture in Shimla, it also has a thriving cafe culture. And this one just had the best view out of all the cafes that I'd been to. So I got myself some cold coffee and Nutella crepe to fuel my cravings and enjoyed eating alone and people watching from the window. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, it's one of my favorite guilty pleasures while traveling. I also brought along a journal and a postcard that the organizers from the trek had gifted us after finishing the trek. It was such a thoughtful gesture, and I thought that I would make use of that by writing a letter to myself and posting it on my own address. And then I was in a hunt to find the post office so I could actually post that letter. The city is beautiful as it is, but it felt quite nice to walk on the streets and observe the people doing the most mundane things on a rainy day in Shimla. वापस आते वक्त as I was trying to get a few shots for this video, मैं शिमला की इन छोटी लड़कियों से मिली वो very fascinated with my tattoo. So they approached me and asked me if I was studying here or working. And since I had a camera in my hand, I told them that I make YouTube videos. Though with a lot of self-doubt, it was the first time that I'd ever admitted that to anyone else. I don't know if anyone will relate to this, but I think with content creation, especially when you're starting out, there's a lot of shame that comes with admitting that to yourself, let alone to anyone else, because you're not making any money off of it yet. And you don't really have a concrete answer unless you have solid numbers backing you in the form of followers or subscribers or the amount of money you're making to support your dreams. So to admit that out loud was kind of a big deal for me because I didn't quite believe in myself. If you heard about James Clear, who is the author of New York Times #1 bestseller book Atomic Habits, he talks about identity-based behaviors, where he basically says that your current behaviors are a direct reflection of your current identity. And the key to building lasting habits is to focus on creating a new identity first. Meaning, if you want to build better habits, you need to first change your identity. For example, let's say that you want to build the habit of running every single day. So you tell yourself that you're a runner, therefore you run. If your goal is to write a book, you tell yourself that you're a writer, that's why you write. It might sound very simplistic and hard to believe at first, but when you repeatedly tell yourself in your head that you're this person, you start to take actions to then become that person. It really is absurd how human brains are wired to think of the outcome before they even begin. Like a trekker, for example, wouldn't have climbed a mountain unless they take a series of small steps that leads them to the top of the mountain. So it's essentially just taking tiny, consistent actions to achieve bigger results. You might be thinking, Janvi, why are you bringing this up and giving us this example? It's because when I admitted to those girls that I make videos on YouTube, even though it was hard for me to believe because the outcome that I saw for myself was far from where I currently am, it shifted something in me because I started acting like how a YouTuber would act.
आप कौन सा स्टैंडर्ड में? कौन सा स्टैंडर्ड में? फोर्थ। यहाँ पढ़ते हो? कौन से स्कूल में?
And the craziest part is that the minute I admitted that I had a YouTube channel, there were like 4 guys standing right behind those girls who overheard our conversation. They came up to me, we had a conversation, and they ended up subscribing to my channel without me even having to ask them. So it was like an instant gratification for me, which is insane. But anyway, let's get back to the vlog. It was my last day in Shimla and I decided to wake up early and head to Tara Devi temple, which is located on the outskirts of Shimla in a village called Shoghi.
अभी तो ये धुंध है ना, नहीं तो यहाँ से बहुत अच्छा व्यू दिखता है इधर उधर।
और तारा देवी को यहाँ पे क्यों मानते हैं?
ऐसे यहाँ को इन्होंने ये जुड़गा का राजा था ना, उन्होंने प्राण प्रतिष्ठा की थी इसकी। 52 पीठों में एक पीठ है ना ये। तारा देवी है, ज्वाला जी है, चिंतपूर्णी है, नैना देवी है, वैष्णो माता है।
So to get to Tara Devi temple, you need to first take a bus from Old Shimla bus stand and get down at Tara Devi bus stop. The temple is located on the hilltop, so if you're traveling with other people, you can easily get a shared taxi for around 200 to 300 rupees that will drop you directly at the temple.
Guys, I'm currently at the Tara Devi temple and it's situated at a hilltop. Tara goddess is actually known as the source of all energies, and there's a very interesting story that I came to know about this temple. So this temple was actually built in 1766 AD by the Saint Dynasty kings. So roughly 250 years ago, the idol of goddess Tara was brought from West Bengal to Himachal Pradesh.
According to the legend, कई सालों पहले सेन डायनेस्टी के एक राजा इस घने जंगल से गुजर रहे थे. While crossing the dense forest, he forgot his path. And because he was tired, he fell asleep and dreamt that his family deity, goddess Tara, requested him to reveal herself before the people in this village. So the king donated 50 bighas or acres of land and constructed Tara Devi temple. थोड़े समय बाद उसी डायनेस्टी के राजा बलबीर सेन को भी सपना आया where the goddess expressed her desire to be situated on the hilltop of तारव पर्वत। राजा बलबीर सेन ने अष्टधातु यानी कि अ मिक्स ऑफ 8 मेटल्स की मूर्ति 1825 में यहाँ पर बनाई और तब से लेके अब तक सेन डायनेस्टी की कुल देवता माँ तारा को यहाँ पर सालों से वर्शिप किया जाता है। It seems that Matara chose this location so she could keep everyone under her protective gaze and shower her blessings onto her worshippers. From here, you can even get to see a panoramic view of Shimla. So you can spare an afternoon and come here to seek blessings and enjoy the view of the city. It was time for me to head back home now, but I had a few hours to kill. So I grabbed some coffee and enjoyed my solo date while reflecting on all the beautiful memories that I'd made over the past few days. And as if on cue, I saw not one but 2 rainbows before leaving, which I consider to be a nice little farewell from the city. जाने से पहले मेरी last meal was a plate of Maggi and a local dish called Sidhu, जो काफ़ी अच्छी थी. And finally, it was time for me to say goodbye to Shimla. Okay, just to give you guys a quick update, I just received the letter that I wrote to myself and I've never been so excited to receive something in the mail. मुझे नहीं पता if you guys had to do this letter writing thing as an English assignment in your school, but हमें बोला गया था and I didn't end up sending it to anyone because I had just moved to a new city and I didn't have any friends. But little Janvi know that she could have just written a letter to her own self. But anyway, better late than never, right? So I actually wanted to read this letter that I wrote to my future self to you guys. I actually did not write this thinking that I would be reading it out loud for an audience, and it might sound a little corny and mushy for some of you, but since I have it in my hands now, I just want to share the happiness and have a little moment with you all because why not? So here goes. Hey Janvi, you're doing good. Not well, you're actually doing good. You are thriving and have reached a place where you feel at peace with yourself and the kind of work you're doing. I know that you have it in you to achieve your dreams. And I know that you have it in you to achieve your dreams. Right now, you're just too scared and uncertain, not knowing how it will all unfold. So here I am, writing this letter to you from a cozy little cafe in Shimla, asking you to believe in yourself. You're holding back because you don't know when it will materialize or when you can monetize this passion of yours. But don't worry, this too is achievable. You've just climbed 15,000 feet above sea level, and that's proof enough for you to know that you can achieve anything that you put your mind to. You're capable of a lot more, but please always believe that it can only be achieved through hard work, discipline, and patience. Lots of it. That's what doing this trek taught you. Do you remember how you asked yourself, why is it easier to give up when you're so close to achieving your goal? But you pushed yourself and climbed that mountain anyway. That's what you need to keep doing. Keep believing in yourself, keep pushing yourself, keep loving yourself despite the setbacks. Let yourself begin without the destination in mind. Instead, allow yourself to be guided by the experience of what you're creating. See where it wants to lead you. Let go of the pressure to be perfect all the time and show up for what you love, for the joy of it rather than the outcome. I know there's so much pressure to have a plan and to tell people where it's leading, but you don't need to answer that to anyone else. Do it for yourself. Do it for the dream you hold so close to your heart. Keep believing in yourself because I believe in you. Love your future self. There's a bit more and I go into the detail of like what my life looks like, but I'm not gonna say that out loud. So yeah, that's about it. That's the letter I wrote from my future self to my current self. It still sounds very far away, but I hope that I get to a point where I feel at peace and happy with where I am. One thing I've realized is that change is scary, whether it's traveling solo for the first time or starting a YouTube channel. But I think I need to take my own advice that I gave to an absolute stranger at the start of this video to just go with the flow and let things unfold on its own. For me, traveling alone and meeting other people has somehow allowed me to let go of the self-doubt and believe in the potential that I have in myself. It's comforting to know that no matter where you are, there's always some familiarity in the unknown and that every stranger has something to teach you. Honestly, the more I travel, the less I believe in coincidences. I think everything happens for a reason, and I feel that every person you meet comes into your life as a guide to teach you what you need to know exactly at that point of time. Or sometimes it's just for you to hear some comforting words to know that you're not alone in this journey. At least that's the way I see it. Nothing in life is a coincidence. You just have to be open enough to believe and to receive. That's all for this video. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.